Hey guys, it's Maymay, and today I'm going to show you how to make this cute purse mini album. It's actually more of a mini album holder because I want to show you the trick. So here's what happens. When you go to show this mini album, or whenever you go to look at it, what you do is you pull it apart. Look at that. Isn't that cool? The bottom part sits on a shelf or sits on a table and you move it out of the way. And then your mini album is right here for you to look at. Isn't this cool? Of course, it's not decorated yet. I haven't gotten to that part. And honestly, this is my prototype. I did this one just to make sure this would work. Here's how you do it. When you put it back in, you put your pages back in like so. And then the flaps just sit right down over and they magnet into place and you can pick your purse up. I wish I had a better way to show you that somewhere bigger. Maybe we can film that in another spot and show you that much bigger than that. But that's how it works. You just pull, well, let me show you. There's a magnet under here. See that one? And then if you flip it over, there's a magnet under here. And then whenever you go to show it, you just pull it out. Isn't that cute? Okay, so that's what I'm going to show you today. I have made a full PDF pattern. That's how easy it goes back together too. Watch. So you put the little deal back in there and you just slide this under and the magnets will catch for you and you can carry it. I have it lifted up and I'm carrying it here. Okay, so that's what I'm going to show you how to do today. And by the way, this one I did with the Forward with Faith paper. I love this paper. If you're interested in that one, I'll link that paper below or I'll put it in the blog post for you. But that's what I used for this was the Forward with Faith paper. Today, I'm going to make a travel version. So I'm going to be using travel paper. Okay, first thing you need to do is you need to run to my website. There's a blog post link below for you guys, okay? And you need to pick up this pattern, all right? So let's talk about this pattern really quick. First, you're going to get 2 pieces that you need to cut out of this. This is a big purse. I tried to make it as big as I could. I wanted you guys to have a nice, substantial album. So this is the front and the back. So you need to cut this page twice. Now here's a tip, okay? Print this pattern, this PDF pattern, onto cardstock. You'll be so much happier later when you go to trace this because you did it on cardstock than if you do it on paper. So that's the first thing. Print this out on cardstock. Then I want to talk about these pieces here. Now here, this is that closure flap I showed you that goes over the purse. You'll need 2 of those and you'll need 1 base. So there's that. And then the last page is going to have the top for you. And it's also going to have that side piece that holds everything together. All right. Now we need to cut these apart. And I want to show you just how easy this is to do. I want to show you what Mandy did. I was trying to cut this out when we did the very first prototype pattern. And it was kind of hard to get these angles because this piece floats inside the page. And so it was hard to line it up. So what she did was she made these little registration marks for you to kind of make the job easier. So look right here. If you lay this down in your trimmer, see how those little registration marks kind of hang out to help you line that up easier? And the same down here. So you can use those guys. And if you do, you'll pretty much get a perfect cut. All right. Then I'm going to come up here and do the same thing. I'm going to use my little registration marks, top and bottom, just like that. And then I can cut this piece away. The other thing we did with this purse, even though it looks very fancy and very finished, we made every cut a straight cut. Now there are angles, but you're only going to make straight cuts. No curves, no rounds, no nothing, all straights. So you see how cute these little edges are right here? And these, by the way, I just do with a pair of scissors because they're just as easy. So even though we're going to have these cute little curved corners, you're just going to do it with your scissors or just straight. No curves, no fancy anything. Now I have this pattern for you in PDF form. And I also have it for you in SVG form. Okay, so if you want to let your electronic cutting machine cut it, you can. And you could use the PDF on your Brother Scan-A-Cut if you wanted to, or the SVG, either one. All right, so I'm going to finish cutting these guys out, and then I'll show you the next step. Okay, so now it's time to trace onto our chipboard. The chipboard I'm going to use is a pretty thick chipboard. This is a good medium weight. You can see how thick that is there on the side. I put my fingers there for you to see that. Here's what I suggest. If you're not going to use this chipboard or something like it, if you're going to use cereal boxes or anything else, you're going to need to at least double your cereal box chipboard. I know a lot of you guys save your cereal boxes for stuff like this, and that's a great idea, but you're going to need them to be at least double thickness, okay? And you know how to do that. You just glue 2 of them together, but I'm going to use this thick old stuff I've got. I call it thick. Oh, it's not that thick, but I do love it. And I'm also using this black because to save paper, because of the way my purse is designed, I'm not covering the inside. I don't really see a need to cover the inside of the purse itself. I'm only going to cover the inside of the flap this time. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to take our pieces and we're going to trace them. Now, this is why you wanted to use chipboard. Cardstock when you printed out your pattern. I'll show you. I'm going to line this up along the bottom at a straight edge, and that will save me some chipboard. See how I'm lining it down here? It'll also save me a cut. So see how I can push my pencil against my cardstock and see how easy I can trace this? But if I use paper, I get a buckle when I'm doing this, and that makes it hard to do. You have to really hold that paper in place. But with cardstock, it makes this easy. And remember how I told you, we're not doing any circles. We're doing all these straights, okay? Straights means we can cut it on our trimmer. So bringing my trimmer back over. And now what I'm going to do is just line this guy up. And I'm going to use my trimmer to help me do this. You know, before I had my registration marks. Oh, I'll show you something else. If you like the idea of those registration marks to make this easy, because you see how this piece kind of floats, all you can do, or how easy this is grab a ruler. And I did this on mine because I wanted to get some nice straight marks. Grab your ruler and just run a line like this. See how I can run it all the way across the page? And that'll get me started cutting. And once I get my first cut done, the rest are easy. So get this guy. Now I'm going to line that up in my trimmer. See how I'm using that at the top. And then I can make my first cut. Up and back. Now my cardstock is thick, okay? So I'm not going to be able to cut through on one cut. So what I'm going to do is cut it once and then fold it back on itself and make a crease. And now I can flip it over and I can see that crease on the back. And this is where I need to do my second cut. So line that up, run it up, take that piece away. And then see how much easier now I can get to my other lines. Now here's another little tip for you. If you're using your trimmer like I am, whenever you change your blade out, whenever you've noticed that your blade is kind of tired from cutting paper, save that blade and mark it in such a way that you know it's the chipboard blade, because just because it's not sharp enough to cut paper anymore, it'll still cut your chipboard and you won't waste your paper blades. You can also get a second trimmer just for chipboard and kind of just make sure it's the one you use for chipboard. But I just think if you save that blade and mark it in such a way, you won't even have to do that. All right, so here I'm going to take my Tim Holtz scissors and I'm going to snip those corners. That's how I'm going to cut this guy. It's so easy. Trust me, I've cut a lot of these because making that prototype, ooh, I ran through all of the mistakes for you so you don't have to. And I had to cut a bunch of these guys. I think this is my third purse to cut at a chipboard this time. All right, I'm doing the same thing, folding this back. I'm going to bring this on the back. I can see my little crease mark. Place that in. Cut like so. You guys know about sinking your blade. That helps when you do that. Right now I can just do my corners. All right, and like my pattern says, cut this one twice. All right, so I'm going to do it one more time. Okay, so I have all my chipboard cut. I have my top piece, which is where my handle lives, okay? I have my two side pieces, which need a little more work done to them, but we'll do those when we get to that point. I have my two flap closures that wrap over the top. Those are those two. I have my base here, and then I have my two purse sides, front and back. All right, what I want to do now is cover them with the cardstock that I'm using, the pattern cardstock. Here's the deal. I'm not going to cover both sides of this. I'm going to cover the front and the back, but the inside I'm going to leave black. You can't see in there. It doesn't matter. I'm just going to save paper. The inside of the base is going to be black, but I'm going to do the outside in a pattern. And then these pieces, because they come out and they'll be part of the mini album that actually comes out of the purse, I'm going to cover front and back of these guys. On the sides, I'm only covering the outsides. I'm not worrying about the inside. All that black on the inside will be pretty because you won't see it, and we're going to save paper. If it bothers you, cover both sides. It'll be perfectly fine. So let's start with these guys. So the pack I'm going to use is the one called Let's Travel by Cartabella. I had not planned on making this kind of like a suitcase, but how cute is this for that, right? And we are going on a trip the end of this month, and I thought this would be a cute way to put my pictures in. This is cute for a purse. I'm going to put that aside over here. I will tell you that on my first purse, The size of this one is so big, I use 2 packs of paper. So you might want to consider that. If you want it to match all the way around, you're going to need 2 packs of 12 by 12. It also took 3 pieces of 12 by 12 chipboard to cut out the base. So just to let you know, that's kind of the size we're working with. I may use 2 packs. I may use 1. It just depends on what I see here. I don't know. These flamingos would be cute on the front of this purse with me. Let's pull it to the side. I'm just looking through to see what papers I like. That's a cute purse also. Let's pull that out. And again, if I need 2 packs, I'm going to do that. I don't mind because I know I can use this paper. Oh, the sunglasses are cute. All right, I'm going to pull that one out. I like to go through and look at paper and kind of decide which one works for my project. Those little Vespas are cute. These little suitcases are really cute. Look at those guys. This is a cute pack. I might need this piece. I did use some solid colors on the other one, or some, you know, close to solid. And let's see, we got a couple more pieces here. Oh, I love this for a purse. I'm gonna pull that one out. And then the little swimming folks and some blue water. I don't know. I might need that blue water, but we'll look at it in just a second. So let me look back at these guys and see which ones I really like for the outside of my purse. I'm in love with this. I think this looks very pursy. So I'm going to put that over here because I'm probably going to use that for my base and my front and back. But I want to see if I can find something for the flap that will kind of coordinate. That's kind of cute with it. Let's keep looking. Oh, this though. Yeah. That's cute. That's what I'm doing. So I'm probably going to need 2 packs of this paper, and I have that, so I'm okay. But I want you to know that if you're going to try to match yours like I'm going to, or I want the front and the back to match each other, you're going to need bigger paper. The reason is these are big. I mean, this is almost a whole 8.5 by 11. All right, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take the paper. This is the side I want to be out, so I'm going to flip it over, and I'm going to glue this down here. And I'm just going to use my art glitter glue for this. You can use sticky tape. You really don't need it. Here's the other thing. What makes this easy peasy is that I am not going to wrap anything around. We're not going to have to wrap cardstock. We're not going to have to do any of that. We're just covering cardstock. That is it. I need a new bottle. I'm getting real low here. And I'm using more than usual because it's not a card. I do want this nice and covered. All right, I'm going to turn this way because I want to save some cardstock. So I'm going to come down here to the bottom. I also want to save cuts. So if I use the bottom and the side of my cardstock, I don't have to cut as much. So there's that piece down. And this is how and why this is so easy, okay? The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use my knife, my little pen blade. You can use scissors too. You don't even have to do this. You can just pick this guy up and take your scissors and cut this out. But watch, if you take your pen blade and you just run it beside, because I've used this nice thick chipboard, I can just cut these out just like this. It is so easy. All you want to do is try to keep your blade close to your chipboard. And remember, more passes, less pressure, and you get a much more stable and clean cut. Let's get that tiny little bit at the front. There we go. So there's that one. Then I can come this way. And this is what I'm going to do for all of these pieces. I'm just going to cover them just like this. I'm not wrapping cardstock over. I'm not hiding the edges. I'm perfectly fine with this black cardstock. I think it'll be beautiful. If you're not a craft blade user, do not stress. My friend Brenda would pick up her scissors and she would cut this out with her scissors and it would look just as good as if I do it with this blade. I just like to use my craft blade. All right, so I got a couple little areas here that are stuck. There we go, got it. So that is the front of my purse. Look how cute this is. Oh my goodness, I'm gonna love this. Okay, so I need to do that one more time with the same pattern, but before I do that, I'm gonna show you me doing the flaps with this other piece. So this is what I'm going to let my flap be, okay? So let's bring the flap over. I need 2 out of this, and I need the top out of this because I want my whole top of my purse to match. So what I'm going to do is just glue these guys down and cut them out. By the way, when I traced my pattern onto my cardstock, did you notice I wrote the name of each piece? I feel like once I get all the pattern paper and everything on them, I'll know what is what. But until then, you can get kind of lost. So you want to make sure you write the name of what the pattern is on each piece. I'm checking to see if this has a up or a down, and it doesn't. Let me turn this where I can see what I'm doing. I'm putting that longest cut edge on the edge of the cardstock, so I don't have to make that cut right there. I just have to make these other cuts. So there's one. Now this one's just going to go right above it. If you don't want to have two 12 by 12 paper packs, one thing you can do is you can use some of the solid color paper that you have in your stash for the front and the back. That's the piece that's going to take up the most real estate on your paper. And then you can use your pattern paper for these kinds of pieces, these smaller ones. Because you can see I'm using one piece to get the whole top of the purse. It's just those two pieces that you have to do the front and the back because it's so big. Now I'm just going back to my knife and I'm going to cut these out. Okay, let's talk about these sides. I've got my front, back, base, top, all that covered, but I need to cover this. So this piece is a little tricky, but it's not hard, okay? All you need to do is make a cut mark halfway through your chipboard at the 5/8 inch mark. Now my chipboard is thick, okay? So when I cut it one time, if I don't cut the back, I get a halfway cut and I can just fold this around, and that's what I'm gonna do. If you need to cut this off at 5/8 and then put it on with one of the binding strips I'm going to show you in just a little bit, you can do that, but I suggest this. So what you do is you find your 5/8 of an inch mark. That's 1/8 past a half, okay? And because this is not straight at the top the way it's cut, I'm going to use this edge over here to help me know that it's nice and straight. So I've just lined that up and I'm going to make a cut. All right. Here's the deal. By the way, I pulled down on that. I tell you guys not to. This guy was floating in the middle, so either way I went, it could have shifted. That's why I did that. So see how I've cut this, but I haven't cut all the way through. Now what I want to do is bend it. And I'm going to do it easy because I don't want to tear it. But all I need this to do is be like this. This is going to live inside the purse and hold the sides together. But this is the part that I'm going to cover. All right, let's do the other side. Same thing, 5/8 of an inch. And I'm going to use this edge to help me line it up nice and straight. Okay. Then I'm going to slice through one time. You can go forward and back. This blade, if you're using this blade, it's not going to cut all the way through. If you're using one that might cut all the way through, then you might want to just cut this away and then put it back on with a binder strip. We're going to be making binder strips in just a second. That'll make sense. So all I need to cover is this section. All right. It'll help me save some paper too. So I'll put that aside while I do this one. So 5/8 of an inch right there. Cut once. And here's what I mean by you can cut twice. It's still not going through. Then I just bend it. Okay. And then 5/8 of an inch on the other side. And then that I just bend. So that is perfect. Now I need to cover these. So for my little side pieces, I've chosen some paper that's complementary. It's got waves on it. So here's what I'm doing. I've glued this down with the flaps lifted up. And now I'm going to trim these out, you know, around the inside and not worry about the flaps. There's no reason to cover these flaps because they're going to be hidden and glued in. So just going to be using exactly the paper I need for this. More passes, less pressure, and I get a better cut. And you can see there, that way my edges, my little flaps are not covered, but the inside is. And that'll be what holds the sides of our purse together. Okay, so before we move on, I want to make the holes for my handle and go ahead and make sure I've got them all set. So this is the top of my bag and this is my handle, which will live like this, okay? These rings are going to go through and hold my handle up so it works perfectly. Oh, before I forget, we have these in store and they come in a 2-pack. So for every 1 pack you buy, you can get 2 of these projects. All right, these are book rings. And these particular ones I'm using are 1.5 inch and I have 2 of them. So here's what you're going to do. On the underneath side, not on the part where we're going to have on the outside of the bag, on the underneath side of your piece, here's what you want to do. You want to come in 1 inch on either side. I'm using my cutting mat to help me do this. So I'm going to lay this on the edge of one line, come in 1 inch, and then I'm going to make a pencil mark all the way up and down. Okay, and then I'm going to do the other side as well. So I'm going to come in 1 inch and make a line. You certainly don't have to use your cutting mat, but if you got one, let's use it. Long as you've made a mark up and down that is 1 inch in. Now with my hole punch, I'm going to make a hole punch on that line. So using my larger hole on my crocodile, which is the 3/16 side, I'm going to set my hole punch depth to 3/4 of an inch. So that's 1/2 inch. That is 3/4. So with it set at 3/4, now I'm just going to take this side of my crocodile and I'm going to sink my chipboard in to the 3/4 mark and line that 1-inch line right in the middle and punch. There's one of my holes. Okay. Now I'm going to turn it around and do the other side. To the 3/4 inch stopping point that I've made, put my line in the middle, see that there, and punch. So there's my second one. Now I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. So now I've got my holes made for my rings to go through. Now I want to show you this. With the handle, what I discovered is if I put the hinge on the loop to the back of the handle, it will help hold my purse handle up. All right, so here's what I mean by that. I've put that in. This is going to be the back where this goes. Okay, so I'm just going to feed that through there. And then I'm going to feed my next loop through like so. It works best if you just close it down a little bit and then push it through. Then you can close this guy together. All right, and see how this looks on the front. We end up with a clean ring in the front and the hinge in the back, and that's what's going to hold that handle up. Let's do the other one. All right, so I'm going to open this guy up just like so. These guys are sturdy. I'm going to put the hinge to the back. All right, I'm going to feed this through one side. I'm going to bring it over and close it down a little bit to get it in there, and then just kind of, you just push it through. It does just fine, and then close it up. And now look, our handle is in place. That's how our handle goes in. That's all there is to it. That's all you got to do. And then this will be on the top of our purse. I wanted to go ahead and get my holes set, but I am going to take this out for now because I need to go ahead and get everything assembled together before we put this back on. Now for assembly, okay? So since we were doing the top that had our handle on it, that's what we'll continue doing. These are our binder strips, all right? We're going to bind this together using these strips. I have cut them 7 inches by 1 inch, and now I need to score them. So I'm going to score this in half at 1/2 inch. So again, this is a 1 inch binder strip, and I just cut the top one 7 inches long. I'll show you what I measured, so if you want to measure it yourself just to make sure that yours is the right length for your purse, because after you do all the trimming and all that, yours might be slightly off from mine. While I'm here, I'm going to go ahead and do my other two because we need 2 for the base as well, and they are 1 inch by 9 inches long. So just while I'm scoring, let's get that done. All these measurements will be in the blog post for you. I'll have it all written down. Can you believe for this whole purse you only need 4 binding strips? That's all you need. Okay, let's go ahead and put our adhesive on the back of these guys. So I'm just going to grab my sticky tape, and we're going to put a piece of sticky tape on one side of the score line. You've seen these before. You've made binding strips for different things before. And then on the other side, just like so. I'm going to do that on all 4 of them. Now I'm going to fold these guys in half and crease them down. Just do these 2 top ones to start with. Those are the ones we're going to work with first. Get those good and creased. All right, let's assemble the top of our purse. So what you need is one flap with the widest part facing out, okay? You need your centerpiece, which is the same on both sides, and it's going to line up from inner point to inner point. You see how that does? Pretty cool, right? Just right there. And then on your other flap, you need the widest point facing the opposite direction, and it's going to line up the same way. Now, here's the other cool thing. We do not have to put a gap between these guys. You know how sometimes if we're folding something like a book, we have to put the gap? These guys are going to keep us from having to do that. Let me get my pokey tool. Here we go. I'm going to peel the backer off of one side. Now, here's what I love about this. Without making a gap, having these butted up completely to each other, all you have to do is run the score line on the cut line. So where the 2 are cut apart, you're going to run your score line on that line. And that is going to help you get a beautiful turn in just a minute. You'll see. Now we're going to reveal this backer. And we're just going to, with everything pushed together, lay this across. Look how nice. Perfect. Let's do the other one. And again, score line to the cut line. It can lay over it or right on it, either one. Okay, and then peel this backer away. Line this guy back up since it's stuck to me. And then close it down. Now up here at the top, I'm hanging off the tiniest little bit. I can trim that away. I can just use my cutting knife. And this will be the piece that sits over our purse and holds our mini album. Isn't that cool? It's really easier than you think it is because it's easy to put this guy together. All right, this is our purse front, our purse back. We're gonna need our bottom flap here, and that is gonna get put on the same way. So we're just gonna line up our little points, okay? Got my points lined up. I'm gonna use those pieces we made earlier, these binder pieces. Just gonna crease these like so. Peel off one side. Exact same thing we just did. We're just gonna line this up onto the cut line. I hope if I put the adhesive down. Okay, so line it up onto the cut line. Just like so, to the little slice between the two. Perfect. Peel off the second one and close it down. Keeping that pressure, make sure they're lined up nice and snug and that your points are lined up. There's one side, now let's do the other. And that is all you have to do to put the front and the back of the purse together. See that? All right, now we're gonna put our sides in, and this is what is the game changer, all right? This is what's gonna hold the whole thing together. So all we have to do is we're gonna run adhesive along this strip. This strip is a little wider, it's a little more than 1/2 inch, remember, and we did that on purpose so you'll get some good stability. Now for this guy, what you're gonna do is from point to point on the side, you're gonna line that up. Don't worry, I'll bring this into camera in just a few minutes, but you're just gonna line that up from point to point and glue that down flush with the outer edge. If you want a tip for getting it good and flush, take your ruler and put it to the edge like this, and then you can just kind of press it to it. And that way you get it nice and flush. All right, I'm gonna bring this up so you can see what I did. Turn it sideways. So you see how I just glued that straight flush right there to those points. I'm gonna do it on the other side as well really quick. I have to turn this around so I can see what I'm doing. You're gonna wanna do that too. Make sure you can see where you're gluing everything. You also, I should point this out, you want the bigger part of your side to be at the bottom and your thinner at the top. That probably goes without saying, but I need to make sure I tell you that. So the wider part at the bottom of the purse and the thinner at the top. Okay, and this guy gets glued point to point and lined up flush on the edge. Mandy did a good job with all my instructions. I would come in and go, I need this, I need this, I need this. And when I finished, I said, now the hard part. I need you to figure out the measurement of this side piece and the angle, and she did it. I'm very proud. All right, while we've got this one like this, I want to make sure you guys can see this. I'm now going to apply glue here, just like so, just like we did on the other side. And this time, I'm going to pick this guy up and bring it over, and again, point to point and flush, okay? Point to point and flush with the edge and glue that together. I'm gonna hold that for a second, then I'm gonna flip it over and press from the inside. That's much easier once you can get to that point. Okay, so that side is done, and now we'll do this one. You're just gonna slip this under, line it up, point to point, side to side. Hold it for a second, then flip it over and press from the inside. It does help. That becomes what holds our mini album. Isn't that cool? All right, so this can just go to the side. That's the base of our purse. We don't need it right now. Now, you guys probably remember I was going to cover this. I did not cover the inside. I could have. I just didn't cover it on this one. I think the black is pretty on the inside. I may come back later when I start to decorate inside the bag and put some pieces here, but I can always do that later. I wanted just to get this guy assembled for you so you could get caught up to this point, because this is going to be what completes part one of the bag. All right, the magnets I'm going to use are these. They are from Basic Gray. We do have these in store. They are the bigger of the two magnets that we carry. Those are the ones I'm going to use for this bag. And I'm going to try to center these a little bit. I'm going to show you. A lot of times I eyeball, which I eyeballed on my other one. But I'm going to show you guys using your ruler if you need to find the center. You just use this little part that has the 0. And if I come down here and I'm looking at my 2 points, Let me see if I can get those kind of flat where I can see them. There we go. I'm looking at my 2 points. I just want the same measurement on both sides. And that is pretty close right there. I'm gonna slide that up a little bit. I actually can do it up here. Let's see. So line that up so that I have the same measurement over here on this side of the 0 and on this side of the 0. Then I can take my little pre-adhesive magnets. Doesn't matter which one you put down first. I just pick up the positive. It doesn't matter though. Then, look, it sticks to your pokey tool. Isn't that cool? And I'm going to line this up at that 0. And that's where one magnet's going to go. Just like that. I love that it sticks to my pokey tool. While I'm here, I'm going to put the negative one on top of it. So there's its little buddy. We'll come back to that in a minute. Let's do the other side. Same thing. I'm going to center it. Just like so. Put my little ruler down. Let's see if I can do the same. It's almost the same. Almost. All right. Then peel my backer off here. The adhesive on these guys is nice and sticky too. Also, I'm magnetizing this to my pokey tool, not using the adhesive side. Then I'm just going to center this up with that spot. Stick it down. Go ahead and get my minus and put on top of it. The reason I'm putting the minus on top of it is because in just a second we're going to peel the backer off of that, and that's what's going to stick to our purse itself. Before then, let's put our handle back in. Okay, so I got my handle in. I got my magnets on. Now here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to bring this guy over, okay? I'm trying to do this in camera for you guys to see it. If I stand this up, okay, I've got it standing up, okay? I'm going to peel the negative sticky back off of my magnet. So you see I'm taking the little negative side off of both sides. That one and this one. You can do them one at a time if you're more comfortable. All right. Now I'm just going to place this over my purse and I'm going to line up the points of my little bag with the edges here. I'll show you in just a second. Let me just close this down. See how I've lined the little points up? Okay. And then if I do that on both sides, I can get my magnet right where I need it. So just stick that down and then stick this guy down. So now look, my magnets are in place. My bag is done, and watch, I don't have my pages in yet, but when I go to show it to someone, I just pull my mini album out like I showed you in the beginning. Then when you put this guy back, the magnets just put him right back for you. That's all you have to do. Isn't that awesome? I love how this turned out. I'm going to see if I can zoom out a little bit for you. That's about the best I can do here on this work surface. But there you go. You can see how the bag looks from the side. And remember, it's time to show the mini album. You just pull and your little magnets will come away. We will build our mini album inside of here. We'll put our pages in here, but that's going to be part 2. I wanted to get this done so you could get caught up to this point. The pages are super, super easy, by the way, but that'll be in our next video. So for now, that is it. What do you think? I think it's kind of cool. I like this idea. And I love how easy it is when it's time to put your album back inside. Imagine your pages are here and you'll just slide them in and your magnets will catch and you're all ready, set, and go. Cute, huh? I love it. All right, guys, if you're making one of these, I want to see your progress. I want to see how you're doing. You can share it with me on my customer gallery. Remember, we have lots of pretties to add to our bag to make it look super cute. But isn't this a neat little way to do this? I love it. Let me show you the side as well, because I don't know if I showed you that. See the little open area? I did this on purpose. It would be too much work to try to close all that in. So we did it just like this, and it's super cute, and it's just basically the housing for your mini album. Who wouldn't love to receive this? And it will stand, and also because of the way we did the little hinges on the back, our handle pretty much stands up. It doesn't stand perfectly straight, but these little hinges will help to stand it up so that if you put it on a shelf or whatever, you can still tell that it is a purse. Imagine when we tie a bow on these and stuff. Oh, it's going to be so cute. All right, guys, thanks so much for watching today. Remember, the PDF, the measurements, everything you need for this bag is in the blog post that will be linked below. Thanks so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe, like, and comment. Tell me what you think. Can't wait to hear what you think about this guy. I'll see you again for part 2 on Saturday. Have a great one. Bye-bye.